apologize.
Good morning, Board.
I went through sexual violence and assault, and the regular officers went on their New Year vacation, and the officers that replaced them and the supervisors thought it'd be a fun to put a male inmate in with me. And I had to wait until January 3rd to get to report it, which is really sad.
I'm not only a victim of sexual assault and rape on the island, I'm a trans elder advocate in the trans community. I'm part of Jails Action Coalition. I'm also part of Sylvia Rivera's Law Project's movement building team.
I was there for about 4 months before I came off the island. And when I tell you it was 4 months of hell for any trans individual, it definitely is. Take what the Bible tells you hell is and multiply that by 10 for us in real life.
As a result of what happened to Zena on New Year's Eve 2014 and other cases, the Department of Corrections opened a transgender housing unit on Rikers Island, where Zena had been incarcerated. The unit was later moved to Manhattan Detention Center, where it can house up to 25 inmates. But now the future of the transgender facility is uncertain.
On transgender unit, I'm very, very disappointed. I mean, if the department is found to be non-compliant with PREA because it does not have a trans housing unit, that's not a problem. There's a tiny, tiny financial consequence to that, and there's a tremendous benefit to the women who are not going to be housed in that unit. I strongly urge the department not to create a new unit next year, not to close down the trans housing unit next year, not to close down the trans housing unit the year after that.
The Prison Rape Elimination Act, or PREA, was implemented by the US Department of Justice in 2003. The PREA guidelines state LGBTI people cannot be based in dedicated housing units solely based on gender identity unless a dedicated housing unit is ordered by legal judgment. During the November Board of Corrections meeting, members voted to not incorporate the PREA standard out of concern the provision might be interpreted by the Department of Corrections to cease maintaining a transgender facility.
One of the things that we know, which has been really devastating for the transgender housing unit, is a complete lack of funding and interest in it. There's very little programming that goes to it. There was a period about 4 months where there were no tables or chairs in the transgender housing unit.
We get letters daily at SRLP from trans individuals on the island talking about the sexual harassment and even sexual abuse by officers.
What are going to be the actual consequences to not housing transgender people according to their gender identity? The folks who are in the unit are patched inappropriately, that they're referred to by the names that are not the names that they go by, that they're referred to as tranny or faggot or man, and these are all not in compliance with the rules that they're supposed to be following, and nothing happens to these officers.
I do think that we should not ignore the voices of those who have spoken about the transgender community, and we need to think about how we make sure that they are supported and that their rights are preserved through this effort.
As it stands, the board, the public, and Department of Corrections are in limbo.
I'm fighting to keep it open. As one of the advocates that went through what I went through on the island, and then I'm out here and I care about my community and have for such a long time since Stonewall, I'm fighting to keep it open.